So I just realized that everything I do, pretty much everything I do, is to attain love from other people. You know, to be loved by other people, to be accepted. You know, those kind of things. And I think that we do that because what we have is not good enough. Or essentially, we're not good enough. Because when you have a really fucked up life, you know, when your life was, you know, lots of problems, you tend to feel like things are never okay. They're never all right. You can never really feel at ease. Or you can never truly feel at peace. Because you always feel like something's wrong, or something might go wrong. A lot of us who were raised in abusive homes, or neglectful homes where we never felt loved, or we felt scared a lot, because the mother or the father that was raising us were very unpredictable. We didn't know who they'd be from one minute to the next. We didn't know if they'd be angry with us or angry at us. A lot of times we felt like that wasn't even in our control. How to please the mother or father that we don't understand their emotional stability or who they are or who they'll be. So we create this thing to protect ourselves, just so we'll make sure that everybody is happy enough so they don't become angry. Or we stay away from the mother or the father just to so we won't have to feel bad or tense or upset. It's difficult because number one, it's really out of our control. Number two, we don't know how to fix it. And there really is no fixing it. Even now when I'm around my mom, I don't know who she's going to be when she shows up. Sometimes I get scared and nervous right away, as soon as she walks through the door. And I do love her, and I'm trying to make my relationship with her work, but I had to create boundaries in order to do so. You know, if I see her every day, I start to feel worse. I start to get more upset, even when I'm not around her. I start to get more depressed. Because I feel like all I kind of tried to ever do is get away from her. Even though I love her, she's an enormous trigger for me. So I try to keep it, if I see her once a week, twice a week, I feel healthier, happier. And when I see her, I appreciate her, and I love her more. And I'm sure she feels the same way about me. I'm sure she doesn't really want to be around me either, because of what I've done to her, our history together. So she probably also feels healthier and happier when she only sees me once a week, once every 2 weeks, because I don't remind her of all of the hurtful things that I've done to her. And I probably don't remind her of what she created, because she's probably not too happy with what she created. Because I'm not a functioning man, and I'm sure that upsets her. You know, sometimes she tells me stories about her other friends and how that, you know, their son, you know, is a banker, whatever the hell it is, and they have a wife, and you know, I kind of get the feeling that, like, she kind of wished she would have a son that did that, that had that. You know, and if you look at psychological studies about why, and this is weird shit, this is like evolutionary stuff, why a lot of men prefer to have sons instead of daughters is so they could produce something that accomplishes things in the world. I think that's changing now. I think that was the case years ago. But now I think women are kicking ass so much that women could really accomplish as much as men do. However, there's a lot of a-holes out there that don't want to give them a chance. U.S. women's soccer team and the men's U.S. soccer team, that's a perfect example of that, about what's going on right now with the soccer teams. And that's a pretty good example about how some people don't want to give women a chance. But I think that's hard, you know, when you grow up and you're mentally ill, or you're borderline personality disorder, or you know, you have all these mental illnesses and you can't function every day like most people can. And you know, number one, you feel pretty bad about it because you wish you could do more with your life, and you feel like you're living a half-life, and you wish you could get married, and you wish you could have children, and you wish you could function, and you wish you could do all these things, but You know, the reality of the situation is, you know, you can't. So you live this half-life, and it's really upsetting. You know, Marsha Linehan, with DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, she talks about how she wants people to have a full life, and how she wants people to, say, I'm perfect the way I am. I love myself unconditionally the way I am, but I must strive to change. Be, the best version of myself, loving others, loving myself unconditionally, and work at it. And I find that's very true, but I also find that no matter what I do, I can never function enough to have a full life. I just break down, just cry, become suicidally depressed, become homicidal because I can't keep up. Just fucking can't do it. You know, a lot of people that are out there, if you listen to this, and you do have kids and you do have a husband or a wife, and you are married, and you're mentally ill or you're borderline personality disorder, and you're trying to, and you're working at it and you're trying to make that life work, that's great. And I hope that you're doing well. But for me, I have so many fucking issues that I can't do it. Like I said, in the previous video, the girl would have to be like a millionaire or something like that. So I could just stay at home and be like a full-time dad and have all my conditions perfect. Everything always has to be so perfect. And if one thing slips out of perfection, like everything falls apart. It's that black and white thinking, if one thing slips up, it's a devastation, like my world falls apart, just if one thing slips up. It's a hard life, man. Fucking that splitting shit, splitting. It's one of the reasons why I could also probably never stay with one person for a very long time, like one girl for a very long time, because of that splitting. Because eventually I'd get bored of her. Or she'd do something that wasn't perfect. It's so fucking exhausting, man. It's so goddamn exhausting. The longest relationship I've ever had was 2.5 years. And most of those I ended up cheating on the person, or I just got bored of the person a long time before I ended up breaking up with them. This life fucking sucks, man. It really does, man. It's okay if you can handle being by yourself a lot. Like, I find a lot of ways to entertain myself. Because I'm always alone. So I love, singing. I love taking walks. I talk to myself constantly. Make myself laugh. I entertain myself when I talk to myself. I dance. Do a lot of dancing. I play basketball a lot by myself, and I'm not competitive at sports either, because that upsets me. Russell Brand once said, I think Russell Brand has the same disorders I do, and Russell Brand said, I wouldn't like being bullied, because I'm very sensitive, and I'm extremely volatile. and I'm just like that. So when somebody shows up to the basketball court and I'm playing basketball by myself, and they want to play, or they want to. Most people are very competitive. Not all, but a fair share are very competitive, and I see that as like kind of like, get away from me, dude. I don't want to. I don't want to be around that energy. That's like kind of like it's like an abusive, negative energy for me. I don't want to compete or be competitive with anybody. I just want to be loving. And I just want to like stay on my own, dribble, and just chill. And if you want to come over and shoot hoops with me and talk, that's fine. But I enjoy being alone a lot because I don't want to be hurt by people, I guess. And I think that like the only way for me to really invite you into my life is if you're an extremely loving person. Unfortunately, a lot of people that gravitate towards me are people that they need something, because I just give off this aura of like love and confidence and positive, loving energy or something. And I've attained all this wisdom from studying psychology and spirituality and doing the drugs that I've done. I don't want to say plant medicines, the plant medicines that I've done, that I could solve people's problems for them very well. And I think that's something I attained at a very young age, being a problem solver for people, so everybody could feel okay. I'm really witty and quick to make people laugh, because when I was in childhood, when I was a really young kid, I had to make my mom laugh and make sure she was happy. And I had to be somewhat happy-go-lucky, because when my mom wasn't around and my sister, it was just me and my sister a lot, because my mom worked like 2 jobs, or she worked overtime a lot because we were so fucking poor. Like my sister fucking hated it. She hated me, man, for good reason. One time I tried to kill her with a steak knife when she was like 9. I was like 7 years old. Chased her into a bathroom with a steak knife, and I was really going to kill her. I was fucking 7. I tried to kill so many people when I was a kid. I didn't have any rough and tumble play. If you're a psychologist or a psych major out there listening to this, my father abandoned us at such a young age that I never had any rough and tumble play, so I was always looked at it like a disease from parents and from other children, like a wimp, from other kids too. And then when they made me feel not good about myself, I would try to kill them, chase after them with a scissor or a knife or whatever the fuck I could find. And my sister didn't make me feel very good about myself, so sometimes, I would say like really fucked up things to her. And that one time I chased her in the bathroom with a steak knife, and I was really gonna kill her, because I didn't really like her and she made me feel like shit. And I didn't really care about other people, because I didn't value human life. Because I didn't value my own human life, I wanted to die. And when you want to die and you don't value human life, you could kill other people, and you could take other human life, because if you don't value your life, you don't value their life. And that's it. Anyways, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day, And I hope you're not suicidal today, and you're doing well with the coronavirus, and everything's okay with you and your family, and everybody's safe, and nobody that you love has passed away. And I appreciate and love you so much for listening, and because a lot of people don't understand this, man. Like, sometimes we sit down with a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and there's really no connection there. Like, that they don't understand you, and you can tell them things, and a lot of them try to fix your problems. And my one therapist now, she's like, why don't you go volunteer? Why don't you be grateful? And I guess those things work sometimes, but I don't know. When you're not an average person, and like, you want to die all the time, and you're constantly in a nightmare. You have all this nightmare depression, like suicidal depression, and you go to bed and you're scared to go to bed because you're going to have really fucked up dreams, or you're going to wake up in the middle of the night with this like really fucked up trauma dream, and you're sleep deprived, and you keep waking up at 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:05 in the morning every night. You're actually scared to go to bed because you know it's going to be bad, or you know that you're going to just wake up in the middle of the night anyways, and you're going to be fucking like just this fucking zombie weirdo in the middle of the fucking night at 2:45 a.m. and what the fuck are you going to do? Can't get back to bed. I don't know, man. It's just such a fucked up life. The only thing that I really feel has worked for me is trying to be present in the present moment as humanly possible. Eckhart Tolle, he helps a lot for that. Eckhart Tolle. He's got a shitload of stuff on YouTube. He's also, I put him in my book too. And just look at nature a lot. Look at nature. And try not to think about being you. Try to just dissolve into nature. Well, I mean, you could think about being you. That's not correct. I'm sorry I said that, but to just be present so much that you're no longer the person, you're just the present moment. That everything you do is to dissolve the self, to be connected to everything, to be connected to nature, to just be the being, and to not be a thinker, but to be the master of being, not the master of thinking or thought, or thinking about your life, or thinking about how bad your life is, but just to be present where you don't really think. You don't think about the past, or you don't think about how you're worried about the future, or you don't think about all your problems. You're just centered and peaceful, and you just connected with nature, and you're just in the present moment. And everything you do is a meditation. Washing bowls, just to lose yourself, to dissolve yourself, not to enhance yourself at all, not to be known as anything, to be seen as anything. Like if you're doing anything to achieve anything, most likely lead to suffering. You know, every time I do these videos and I get upset that people aren't watching them, or that my book's not selling, I'm like, you're expecting something to happen. You're doing something because, you know, you want to achieve something. You gotta give that up now. Like, even though you want to help people, like, it's completely out of your control if people watch these videos. You know, you might die and nobody might ever watch these videos. Nobody may ever buy your book. And even though you want to, like, be a part of something and be a part of this, you know, ongoing group that knows more about mental illness and, you know, creating a community that's there for each other. So you could feel like you have friends, and you could feel like, you know, you're giving them a friend, and you love them and they love you, and you're in this together. Like, I think that's really the reason why I do this. You know, to vent and to actually talk about what we're all going through, because I'm sure pretty much all our stories are similar, because we were all raised in the same conditions pretty much, most of us. And it's a good way to heal, to talk about it, to listen to other people's experiences that are feeling the same way you do. That's why I love being in mental institutions. I miss them so goddamn much. Sometimes I think about mental institutions and I get a smile on my face because I love being there so much. Because they're like my tribe. They understand me, and I understand them, and I absolutely love them. I make such amazing friends at mental institutions. Because you feel like you're connected. You love each other. You bond with each other in mental institutions. But you gotta be open. You know, a lot of people I meet that go into mental institutions, they're like, I fucking don't want to be here, I hate being here. And a lot of them are, you know, still on drugs or alcohol, so they're going through the detox period, and they're like, I'm jonesing. You know, and they just want to get the fuck out of the mental institution as quickly as possible, just so they could do drugs again or drink again. So a lot of the times, people don't even want to be there. Or people feel like they're too good to be there, and they're not there, and they want to get the fuck out of there because they don't belong there. And, you know, sometimes people in group sessions will actually say that. And then, like, the doctor will be like, well, or the social worker will be like, okay, well, go into your story, tell us about you, and, like, why you don't think you should be here, and, like, you know, like, talk about you. And they talk about themselves, and I'll be the first one to speak up. And I'll be like, listen, you need to be here. You need to probably be here for a long time, even if your kids are at home, and they're with your mom, or they're with your, you know, husband. You need to fucking put in the time and heal. Because you're not ready to walk out this door, even though you want to and you think you don't belong here. Because when you feel like you don't belong in a place, you're not going to be open to learn anything. That's Carl Rogers stuff right there, man. You know, Carl Rogers always says, the only way people get better and heal is when they can admit that they have a problem and their life is messed up. Because you need to be open. The mind has to be open to gain new knowledge and to realize that there is something wrong with your life. But if you feel like you don't belong, you know, in a mental institution, or if you feel like, you know, you're not ready yet to admit that you have problems, you're never going to want to be in a mental institution. I love mental institutions because I always admit the fact that I have a problem. I'll be the first person to stand up and be like, I have a shitload of problems, here's why, and I'll ramble them all. But I'm also a truth teller, and I don't mind telling the truth. Even though the truth is hard, I know that the hard conversations are always the best conversations. And I'm always a truth teller, and I do not lie at all. And I think that's why I have so many, like, loving people in my life. Because I always tell the truth. I'm extremely open. I'm extremely vulnerable. And I am an absolute truth teller. And I'm extremely vulnerable. And I learned that from Brené Brown. Before I read Brené Brown, I was a complete dick. I didn't tell the truth, I lied a lot, and I didn't give a fuck about other people, and I was not vulnerable at all, and I didn't know shit about shit. And then I became obsessed with Brené Brown. Like, I would listen to her, like, every morning for 3 hours, and she changed my life. Brené Brown, so please listen to Brené Brown. Got to the point where some of my friends were like, stop talking about Brené Brown, dude. Like, I think somebody actually called me Brené. They were like, hey, Brené, you know, I mean, like, it got bad. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. I love you, and I hope you're doing well. Enjoy.